Welcome to the Creative Content Club podcast with me, Naomi Rose. If you are a business owner who wants to consistently create content that connects and converts into clients, this is the podcast for you. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Let's get right into it. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Creative Content Club podcast with me, Naomi Rose. I am a content marketing strategist, which is a fancy word for saying I help you get your content to connect with your ideal clients and make more sales. In short, that's what I do. And I'm here to give you some top tips, advice, and things that you can do to make your content stronger and connect with the right people. As business owners, it's a big myth that you don't get to choose your clients. That's 100% not true. You're in control. You're in the driving seat. It's your choice. Creating the right content can make the job a lot easier because if you know how to speak directly to the right people, the people you really want to work with, then you're more likely to attract them. And that way, everything gets easier from there on in. And today, this topic I'm talking about, which is causing quite an interesting change in the content creation landscape, is AI. I'm going to start this podcast by saying I use AI a lot. I am an early adopter of tech. I was pushing companies onto social media before it was even a thing because I could see the potential of what it can do. AI is exactly the same. But what is really getting on my nerves, and I'm getting really annoyed about it, and I'm a little bit sad about it actually, is when I go to scroll through any of my social media channels or looking at people's websites, it's a carbon copy of something that's just come off of one of their favorite AI channels. Like the format is the same. The phrases that are coming up are things that have been used time and time again. And it's frustrating because people deserve better than that. And at what point did we decide that AI was better at knowing who we are and creating content that converts? And do not get me wrong, I am here to help you use AI to create content. What I don't want you to do is lose your voice. People buy from people that they like. They want to see you. They want to get to know you. It's the people that people want to see people. Just be yourself. I know, right? Sounds easy I was going to say on paper, but we're on the podcast, but it's not. I get it. I totally get it. When you suddenly turn from being yourself, talking like I am now, if I was in a conversation with you over a coffee, it's much, much easier to do that than it is to then write it down on, I was going to say blank piece of paper. We're so digital. I'm so retro today. Online, actually put it into words for fear of judgment, for fear that we do not sound like ourselves when we're trying to be ourselves, or fear that ourselves will put people off. Showing the reality is something that people actually really want. They're not interested in that generic, polished, robotic content you can spot a mile away. Oh, they now give me the ick, these phrases. These phrases absolutely give me the ick. And some of them I used to actually use myself before AI existed. Like, here's the thing. I used to use it all the time. Here's the truth. That I used all the time. AI's taken it away from me. I no longer have that pressure and it's actually given me the ick totally. At the end of the day, and actually my friends and I used to say, at the end of the day, it gets dark, which is so true. But now AI says it, and I can't say that phrase anymore. The double dash. Oh my gosh, what is it with that double dash? Who thought that was a good idea? But maybe it's their way of saying, guess what? I've been copy and pasted from AI and now everybody's reading the same content. Actually, no one is reading it. They're scrolling right past it. Where people are stopping the scroll is when they can clearly see the posts are about the person that's written them, where they can clearly see the personality coming through. So what I want to share with you today is how to use AI and still sound like you. That's what we're talking about today. We need to be smart about the way we work, and creating content can be a time-draining energy. It can really take up that time. It can be a complete mood hoover. It doesn't need to be like that. But what AI can do is help speed up that process without taking away. I was going to use a fancy word, but I don't do that. Not because I don't like fancy words. It's just I couldn't remember what the word was. But AI takes away that personality. We need to put it back in there. So that's what we are going to do. AI should be used for creating first drafts or brainstorming or coming up with ideas. So, for instance, I need 4 ideas about content relating to AI for my podcast. It will then create me a draft. I then tweak it. I then edit it myself. I then inject my personality. I then make sure it's the right context. I might give it some suggestions of what I'm thinking. Even voice noting it, rambly thoughts will help. But then what you need to do is take that as a draft and put it into your own words. Don't then suddenly just go, yeah, I've got it. Unless AI absolutely understands your tone of voice, which I've been teaching it mine. And it does get better every time. You can teach it things, but it's still not going to get that perfect. And I want to make sure that I've used AI in the right way to help speed up a process without losing the main body of what I want to say or taking away the bits that people want to actually hear from. And that's the bits that they want to hear from me. I hope anyway, otherwise I am wasting my time. But ultimately, that's what people want to see. They want to see you. They want to see your voice. They want to hear you. AI can't do that in the same way you can. So don't be afraid to inject that personality, inject everything into it, which swiftly moves me on to my second point, which is about help AI give you the basic outlines, but then put your own twist on it, your own personality, your own tone of voice, your own characteristics. When you're building a business, often we think about our brand in terms of the logo, maybe the colours, sometimes the font. What many business owners forget is tone of voice is part of that brand package because it gives people a feeling. People buy based on emotions, as we know, and I've talked about this on the podcast before. But what we want to do in that tone of voice is create that connection with people and keep that tone of voice consistent with your brand. You can tell the tone of voice of different brands when you look at them. You can tell the feel. They make you feel in a certain way. So use that tone of voice in your content. So like I say, take the first draft, but inject your personality. Share your personality and your tone of voice with AI so it starts to pick up how you talk. Things you say, things you don't say. Absolutely would never use phrases. Like I would tell it, never to use no fluff or overwhelm. I cannot stand those phrases. It's not in my brand tone of voice. I do teach it my tone of voice a little bit, but actually what I do is I get the basic generic content, the bullet points that I need, sometimes even written out paragraphs, and start to tweak it so it sounds like me. We're not in grammar school anymore. We're not in school where we need perfect paragraphs. And trust me, you read any of my content and it'll be full of grammatical mistakes and spelling mistakes. Some of it might not even make sense because of my dyslexia. I'm okay with that. My mum might correct me. She's good at that. At the end of the day, you know it's me. It's got my personality across. And that is exactly what I am doing. I am just popping in my personality in there, but using AI to do the heavy lifting. That's what it's good at. It can do the research and sort things out. But actually, the posts that really connect and really convert are the ones that have got my personality, that show the behind the scenes stuff. Not the salesy posts, not the generic copy posts. They never do well. And I've tried them and they don't do well. But the ones that work do. The ones that have my personality do. So think about that. If you're creating a copy and paste from AI and you're wondering why it's not converting, you're giving yourself extra work to do and not gaining anything. So for these small changes that you can make a big difference to your results. The third point, every time you put something on your email, on your blog, any content that you create, social media, wherever you might be posting, an advert, even an advert has copy in it and content. You need to give a clear path of what you want your audience to do next. What is it that you're asking them to do? It needs a purpose. It needs a place for people to go, because otherwise they're just going to go, that's nice, and carry on again. And AI might not give the right calls to actions. They might give a suggestion. Sometimes they do suggest stuff. Half the time they don't. But what you need to do is make it super clear and super easy for your clients to take another step with you. That's the ideal, is to create something that makes people go, that's dead easy. I want to do that next. And make it easy to follow the path through. Don't make it complicated for them. Don't make them have to find the link in your bio. Yes, I know Instagram is great for that. Ask them to drop you a DM and hit them back with a freebie, or comment with a word so that you can give them something easily. Don't make it difficult for them to take another step with you. If your next step is to book a call and that is a really big jump for them, don't add that as your call to action. Give them another freebie so that you can then, or get them into a conversation in your DMs where they can come back at you in their own time when they're ready. Make sure you understand where you want people to go and give them a call to action, which is super easy to do. When it comes to creating content, you need to be consistent. And I've said this over and over again. I would rather you do 3 posts every week and on one channel and that's it, than 3 posts every other month for 3 days in a row. It needs consistency, but it also needs a clear content strategy. So if you're going in and out of AI saying, I need a social media post today, create me something on this, your audience are going to start getting confused as to what you're wanting to be doing. So you need a really clear plan up front that helps take your audience on a journey. Now, you can go and look back across all the content I create, and you will see I have very clear content pillars and also very clear weekly themes that I base all my content around. I talk about one thing particularly each week. About this week, I am talking about how to use AI so you don't sound like a generic robot. That is my theme this week. Using these themes weekly to help build up those questions, build up that rapport with my audience and get a bit more in depth. Because one, my audience doesn't see every single thing I put out there. Some of them don't even see anything a week. 2, I also know that repetition builds brand reputation, which converts into clients, and they start to know you for the things that you talk about over and over again. So repetition is so unbelievably important. So when you're thinking about how to use AI to create your content, help it plan that out for you. I need 4 topics around my content themes for this month. What would you suggest? Give me 10 ideas. That's how you can use AI to give you the bulk of that plan. And then you can tweak it. You can say, yeah, that works. No, it doesn't. I want more of this. I want less of this. This doesn't fit with my content themes at the moment. Or this is really topical. Or use AI to give you that research. And that's where it can really help. This actually quite nicely leads on to my final point to talk to you about today. It's about using AI to give your unique perspective, your unique expertise, your unique insights, but using AI to help you research and give you data and analyze information quicker. So this is like, I will ask him about anything to do with marketing, content marketing. I'll be like, how many business owners are struggling with content marketing in the UK right now? I will ask it questions like that, and it will come back with the sources of information rather than me having to scroll through and try and find that information out myself. I will use it to give me stats on stuff of what I think might be happening. And I want to then go and find out if I'm right. Give me that evidence. Give me that unique insight that I believe might be right. But I can use that statistical information, that data, that research, those quotes that I use on a weekend. Every Saturday, there's a quote coming out that help reinforce what I've been saying. And sometimes I do that also to counter argument me. So I will use it to kind of go, do you think I'm right here? What articles do you find contradicting what I am believing? So I can really test my own hypotheses, saying that I'm not going to use big words today. I have just used one. There we go. I can use big words and remember what they are. But test my own theories around what I believe to be the case and see what it comes back with. And it can give me the sources as well. So I can go and see then the original sources of what it's saying, because it's very easy to manipulate data and information. If you've ever done any form of data collection analysis, I love it. I could spend hours in things like Google Analytics, but you can also tell stories that manipulate data so you can look better than it actually is, than the reality. And I hate that. That's what I really hate, is sometimes how data has been manipulated the wrong way, which is why I like to look at the sources and make my own decisions. But that's where AI can be brilliant. It can pull in the information and I can go and then check to see if that's right along my lines without having to have spent hours researching stuff, and being able to get those expertise from other people, or even find out like things of other industry leaders talking about this subject. What are other people saying? Give me top 5 industry leaders that are talking about AI right now. That's where it can be really, really helpful. When you're thinking about how to use AI in your content, this is what you should be doing. Using it as your first draft, not your final copy. Let it do the legwork for you. Add your personalities and your stories. Storytelling is what's converting right now. That storytelling element. So add that in. Help AI create that. Again, use voice notes if necessary, because it can turn the ramblings into something that makes sense. Whatever content you create, make sure it's taking your ideal client to the next step. Where do you want it to go? Take out those lazy AI phrases. Tell the AI not to use them. Ask it to bank it in its memory, because it will, so it won't keep using it. Make sure whatever you're doing is using consistency, but also being a bit strategic about it. So don't use AI to create random content every single day. Use it to create and plan for you and help you build those themes that will really connect with your ideal clients. And use your expertise and AI's research to blend together, to save you that time, to save you that research, but help you come up with hard and fast information that will really back up your ideas and thinking. So remember, repetition is key. We don't want generic content. Tell your story and be yourself, because that is absolutely what's going to connect with your ideal clients. And to help you with that, I have been creating a 30-day content planner using AI so that you can speed up your time and make your life a lot easier. If you want a copy, just come and check out my show notes or drop me a DM. I'm also going to be doing an incredible free challenge at the end of July that will help you create content consistently, from being AI to authentic. There'll be more coming out about this soon, but I wanted to let you know in advance what's coming. Okay, thank you, everybody. I hope this has been a useful podcast for you today, and I'll be back again next week. Don't forget to share this with all your friends, rate, review, and subscribe. Thank you for listening to the Creative Content Club podcast with me, Naomi Rose. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this podcast a review. If this episode gave you clarity or sparked a new idea, I'd really appreciate it if you could share it with someone else who would find it useful. If you haven't already, give me a follow on Instagram and come and connect with me on LinkedIn. And finally, don't forget to check out the show notes to take my quiz to find out exactly why your content isn't converting into clients. Thanks again for listening, and I'll be back again next week with another episode.